Hey, I just wanted to do a video on my 1999 Ford F-250 Super Duty 7.3. Bought it brand new in 1999, in October of 1999. By that time, they were pretty much gone. You couldn't find them anywhere. I went into 2 states looking for one, and they were just about all sold by October of 1999. I told my wife I was going to get any color but black, and as you can tell, that's what color was left. This truck was actually sold to 3 dealers before I bought it, and only had, I don't know, 100 miles on it. So the dealers were selling it to each other for more money because they knew the demand for them was high. So wasn't real easy to get a good deal on them back then because they were in high demand. You may think this is a city truck, but it was actually raised in the country. Gravel roads, nasty weather, Midwest, a lot of salt, a lot of snow. And I drove it 100 miles a day back and forth to job. It wasn't abused. I'm not saying it was abused, but it was used. It wasn't babied in that way. I've hauled a lot of stuff in it. And it's set in a parking lot at a factory every day, pretty much for 17 years. So it's set outside all day, all kinds of weather. Get in it in the summertime. It was so hot in there you couldn't touch a steering wheel. So it has not had the baby life that it may look like that it's had. I was always careful about washing it, keeping it clean. And I think that's been the key to very little rust. I've looked at videos on these and have looked at the problem spots for rust. Radiator support, cab mounts, oil pan, those different things, and have checked all of those, and there's no signs of any rust. And I don't think it's because it never was around any salt or bad roads. It was just wash them. After the roads get better, wash underneath them and keep them clean. And I think it's amazing how long they'll last. Be good to them, they'll be good to you. Of course, the 7.3 liter, most people that's been around diesels know that they're not a powerhouse, but they're a good motor. They'll last for a long time. You may look at this truck, and I'll show you the inside of it, and you may take a guess on how many miles it has. There's the interior, passenger seat, floorboards, carpets. Look brand new. They've always had floor mats, but they look brand new. Dash not cracked, sitting out in hundreds of degree temperature all day long in factory parking lot. Back seat, and I have raised some grandkids, and it's taken it very well. But like I said, I've always been careful about keeping it clean and careful about what I do. The back of it was really scarred up, not beat up, but scarred up, and I just rattle canned it. That's something you can do, you know, if you use a pickup and the back of it gets all scarred up and stuff, you can always rattle can them. May not be the most perfect thing, but this isn't a perfect truck. It's a driver. It's one that I drive every day. This little place right here is the worst place on it. It came from taking my grandkids sledding and backed into a tree. The kids were all lined up behind the back window, couldn't see out the back, wasn't using the side mirror, and into a tree. I don't really care about getting it fixed because it's memory. It's not something I worry about that much. Every time I look at it, I think about that day, and it didn't ruin the day just because I backed into a tree. We still sledded and had a good time. So trucks get a little character after a while, and those things really shouldn't bother you as much as just think of memories of what happened at the time. Some of them not as good as others. This place right here, this crease right there, came from a windy day at Walmart when somebody didn't watch their door and the wind caught it and put a little crease there. I got underneath it and beat it out as good as I could. So yeah, it's got some dings and dents on it. That place right there on the fender came from a deer hoof. That's why it's got that bumper on it. Because where I lived out in the country, lots of deer. And I hit one and it messed the bumper up. And it hit the side, her hoof hit the side and put that dent in it. And I thought, the next one I hit's gonna come out worse with that bumper on there. I like the factory bumper better. I like the looks of the factory one better, but with all the deer running around, I just wanted to come out a little better the next time. It says 4-wheel drive. It is an automatic. I had a lot of people say, well, them automatics won't last, but that one's lasted just fine. Doesn't have a lot of options, has a sliding back window. Has, of course, the hitch, which is pretty normal on a Super Duty. Show you the driver's side. That driver's side seat is not even ripped or look too bad. I've had people say, how'd you keep the seat from getting ripped? I didn't keep it from getting ripped. I didn't do anything different. It's never had seat covers. I don't know exactly why. You see a lot of them that are ripped right there, about right in there. But this one just never did. And you may say, well, yeah, but it's probably got 100,000 miles on it. Well, if you can see closer, 367,761 miles. So over 300,000. And the seat hadn't even wore out. So this truck's been amazing to me. It's got a little bit of a bad place there where my arm rests on there. And that's really the worst of the wear is right there. And you have to understand this seat's been set on for 365,000 miles. So it's just amazing to me that cloth didn't go. Door panels and everything look good. This thing, the only things that I've really done to it in 365,000 miles is of course, I put brakes on it. I do the brakes myself. I've done them I don't know how many times. I put rotors on it. So yeah, it's had brakes. It's had rotors. But the main things, I had new seals put in the front end and ball joints. And, idler arm bushings, just some of the bushing stuff on the front. It's kind of funny because when you talk to people about these, they go, how does that thing ride? Well, I didn't buy it for a ride. If I'd wanted to ride, I'd bought a Cadillac. I don't care how it rides. It rides rough. Yeah, it rides really rough, but it's a truck and it's a 250 Super Duty. So what do you expect? I wasn't looking for a good ride and I wasn't looking for mileage. People said, well, what do you get for mileage? It gets about 16, 18, somewhere in that neighborhood. But again, when I was shopping, I wasn't looking for that. At the time, my father had some cows, and I thought maybe that I might use it to pull cattle with. After I got this, he ended up selling And so it never was really used for that. Of course, I've pulled things with it. I've pulled cars on trailers and stuff like that, but it really hasn't been used real hard in that way. So I had somebody tell me, with 365,000 on it, you've had injectors, you've had some of that stuff done. I've had none. Same injectors. I change the oil about every 5 to 7,000. It's been changed every time, between 5 and 7,000. So I took good care of the oil. I do suck out the high pressure pump myself and then put fresh oil in it, as you guys have probably heard on some of the YouTubes about changing the oil in that. So I do that myself. And the other day I had to put a heater fan in it, but that wasn't that big of a job. And after 300 some thousand, that fan had been around a few times. So just kind of done the normal stuff that you would expect out of that kind of mileage. Nothing really overwhelming. Of course, I've had the little sensors put in. There's been some of them go bad, which is pretty typical for a 7.3, but really nothing real critical. So I'm gonna fire it up for you. It has been setting. Of course, it's in a garage, but it has been setting. Notice it just has stock exhaust on it. This has no modifications at all. It's never been shipped. It even has the original air cleaner. It's amazing, but most all the videos you see, they've got a different kind of air cleaning system on there. They've got the big filter on there, and all this is gone, which there's nothing wrong with that. But mine, I just wanted to keep it stock. Exhaust. Probably very few of these have the original exhaust on them anymore. Most all of them's got the 4-inch all the way back with no muffler. Big old pipe sticking out the back, which that's fine. I understand why they do it. They can get better mileage and more performance. But I guess it's just something that I've always wanted to keep it like from the factory. I've had plenty of opportunities to get rid of this. I'll take it in to get the oil changed, and you know there'll be salesmen come out, and that's already sold. If you want to get rid of it, it's already sold. I've already got somebody, you know. So I don't know, these 7.3s, it's amazing, but they're really, people are after them. They're a good motor, and if you take care of them, they'll take care of you. So anyway, just wanted to give you a video on this. I think it's interesting. I've looked at a lot of YouTube on 7.3s, and they're just an interesting truck. You look at this one here, and after the years that it has on it, the miles that it has on it, I thought it was interesting. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and talk to you later.